Where'd you get all that cash?
From our friends in the trunk. Apparently people get paid a lot to kill me. I was your boss. Wouldn't have been right.
Wow. Well, I waited years for that answer, and it's pure Reacher.
If you're ever in need of a savage line to farm aura, rest assured that Jack Reacher's got it.
I got it.
On that note, let's take a look at the top 25 most savage Jack Reacher lines from the Amazon Prime series.
She's a good egg. Like my Teresa.
She just wants me for my body.
Yeah, Reacher sure knows why the ladies want him, and that makes our man even more of a giga chad. In this scene, we see him, Duffy, and Teresa's grandmom having a nice meal, and as one would expect, the old lady gets a whiff of their apparent affair. I guess grandmas really have an eye for such things, don't they? But the classic line comes after she tells Reacher that he should snap up Duffy.
So, how long you two been an item?
Our relationship is strictly professional.
Like hell it is.
Our man replies with such an epic statement on how Duffy only wants him for his body, and it made everyone at the table laugh. I know this is meant for humor and stuff, but bro really needs to hesitate. Then again, when you know you have undeniable riz, you would want to flaunt it every now and then, am I right? I also like how Alan Richardson delivers his lines so nonchalantly, as if he's just spitting facts and not trying to crack a joke. Knowing Reacher's persona, that could very well be the case.
So I know a thing or two about a thing or two. Like when young people got a connection. I see it now, he looks at you and you at him.
Saddle up. 'Cause we're about to do a whole lot of cowboy.
Guy Russo may hate it, but Reacher loves doing cowboy stuff. He also loves going against what other people tell him to do, especially if it happens to be a bold cop. Yeah, the first season had Finlay on the receiving end of Reacher's sass, and then we got Russo getting violated every 5 business minutes.
Need someone to watch the kid.
What am I, babysitter now?
I guess this is the reason why season 3 straight up had Reacher having an affair with his designated cop buddy. Anyway, over here, Russo very clearly instructs Reacher not to go wild with his team because he wants to do it the right way.
I didn't get hurt at all.
You think this is funny? I told you, no more cowboy.
However, it looks like getting smacked during their first meeting still wasn't enough for him to understand that our boy Reacher does as he pleases. The tone in which he tells everyone in his squad that they're indeed going to do a whole lot of cowboy stuff exudes pure confidence and sass. As long as you're ready to put your life on the line multiple times, this man is the leader for you.
Lowry won the Army marksmanship competition 6 times, both pistol and rifle class. I've got a rule. Plans go to hell soon as first shot's been fired, so your first shot better be your best shot.
You got tuned up on that houseboat?
No, it's just a rug burn.
How the hell do you get a rug burn on you? You're shitting me. You two were supposed to be working in L.A.
After the Duffy scene, even Villanova is tired of Reacher's riz. We already covered Teresa's grandma in the early entry, but here we can see Villanova realizing that rugs just don't bite themselves. All of this is happening during a stakeout, so you can understand the man's frustration. Reacher doesn't even need to say anything here, as his smile gives it all away. But I love how Villanova scolds the lovers on how they were supposed to be working, not doing whatever else it was they were actually doing. Of course, Duffy had a good response for him because they did manage to get Beck to come to the team, so I'd say the efforts they put in didn't go to waste.
We set this whole thing up, so shut it, old man.
Beck's here.
I also know this isn't technically a part of his riz, but I gotta mention the line where Reacher says that Quinn needs money, so he'll make sure that Beck shows up. It highlights his own sense of perception as he understands the enemy well enough by this point to make calculated predictions.
What if Beck doesn't show?
Quinn needs money. He'll make Beck show.
If you step over here, I can process you. I'm not asking, sir. I'm telling. But don't worry, I won't kick your unless you make me.
Roscoe sure knows how to crack a joke, even though she may be a long-forgotten character from season 1. Having said that, out of all the lovers Reacher has had so far on the show, she definitely had the best characteristics. I mean, our introduction to her was so neatly done that we're instantly drawn to her persona.
All right, I'll be doing your intake. So first things first, what is your name?
Sasquatch don't talk. And a passport on, you know. Jack Reacher.
She doesn't try to be mean or assertive to Reacher. Instead, she cracks a hilarious joke on how she'll beat the daylights out of him if he doesn't step towards her. Even our man knows what she's up to, so he complies because he respects her already. This is how you're able to build strong female characters without making them do the most ridiculous things. I swear, if this was a Disney show, I'm pretty sure she'd find a way to make Roscoe beat Reacher, which would be as believable as a lion being a plant-eating herbivore.
Thanks.
Been in here a while now. Figured you could use a pick-me-up.
Not my fault. Trouble just kind of seems to find me.
Two fried chicken thighs, fried okra, ribs, collard greens, poke greens, rice with giblet gravy, cottage cheese and peaches.
One of the best things about this character is that Reacher is more of a show don't tell kind of guy. We all know that he's huge and he's ripped beyond normal imagination, but at the same time, we see him eating all kinds of junk to no consequence. Amongst many others, Finlay obviously needed some answers because he's been spending all of his life eating salads only to grow up to a fourth of Alan Richardson's size.
Buttermilk chicken sandwich with coleslaw. And for you, spinach salad, dressing on the side.
His question on how Reacher eats like this and still looks the way he does is very much warranted. Heck, even I want to know how he does it. However, Reacher's response is so simple that you pretty much give up on finding any kind of satisfying reason. Bro literally ate some more food to prove his point. I guess he could also not want to give us the secrets to his physique, otherwise all the gym bros would just start following him instead of their personal trainers.
I was embarrassed ordering that.
How do you eat like that and still look like you do?
Like this.
What is it that you want?
I want to throw you out of a helicopter.
One thing you've got to admit about Reacher is that the man is very clear with his demands. During his little phone call with Shane Langston, we witnessed the typical trope of the villain telling the hero he's willing to pay him whatever he wants to get off his tail. We all know how that ends, but to simply give Langston the middle finger wouldn't have fit into Reacher's brand image.
Why don't we make a deal? I have the means to give you anything you could ask for.
That's why he gives us a sassy line on how the only thing he wants to do is throw Langston off a helicopter. The moment I heard this, I knew that the season was going to end with him actually throwing the villain off a helicopter. And when we all came to that final episode, Reacher's wish did manifest into a reality. I'm pretty sure that Langston fellow must have been sweating after hearing such determination over the phone. Bro already had a hard time shaking off Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator Judgment Day, and now he's got to deal with his successor.
You like cream? I know where you can get some more.
Contrary to what the popular saying tells us, Reacher doesn't want to excuse his French. In this scene, it's a very literal embodiment of the sentiment as we see him standing up for Annette against Quinn's goons. Now, he may have given us the translation, but the original line actually comes from Annette, who responds to one of those losers trying to act funny with her. Luckily for her, Reacher is a gentleman who doesn't mind conveying her message in great detail, and it made for a very hilarious moment.
What'd she say?
She said the cream came from your mother. Probably because she's a big fat cow.
It doesn't just end there, because after Reacher knocks one of them out, we get an even funnier line when he asks the other dude if he cares for dessert, but he replies by saying he's got diabetes. I know that the writers got a lot of criticisms for the dialogue in this show, but that was some peak humor right there.
You have any thoughts on dessert?
No, man. I got diabetes.
Where'd you get all that cash?
From our friends in the trunk. Apparently people get paid a lot to kill me.
It shouldn't come as a surprise that people get paid a lot to do the impossible. You know, stuff like stealing from heavily guarded areas or kidnapping high-profile individuals. But I must say, they've got to draw the line when it comes to killing Reacher. The only card you're going to get dealt in that case is an Uno reverse. Our man knows this all too well as he casually tells Roscoe that people apparently get paid a lot to kill him. This is after she realizes that Reacher has got a lot of cash on him, which he took from the dudes who tried to take his life.
Only 2 queen I've left is a suite.
Not a problem.
Oh, okay then. I just need to see some form of ID.
Once again, the line is great, but what really sells it is the nonchalance with which Alan Richardson delivers it. Some people say it's because he doesn't have much range as an actor, but if you really think about it, this is exactly how a Giga Chad would say in real life too.
If these guys were working for counterfeiters, you just paid for a room with counterfeit cash.
Not my problem. Rules say you can lend these firearms to a friend, which, as you know, is one of the conditions for legal temporary transfer under New Jersey law. Nice to meet you, friend. I'm Joe Gordon.
Despite his rough appearance and combat skills, Reacher sure knows how to make friends super easily. For example, take this interaction with a certain law-abiding citizen who at first tries to resist Reacher's initial advances to illegally purchase some ammunition. All it takes is a small display of big greens to change the man's mind. And as Reacher rightfully says it, they're friends now because of their exchange. See, this is a very normal case of bribery, so it's not out of the blue for someone like a Jack Reacher to pull it off.
The law also necessitates the firearms be back within an 8-hour period.
Technically, Every moment in time exists within an 8-hour period.
However, what's important to note is how easily a man is able to turn the gun seller around to his side. The guy could have said no even after seeing the money, because maybe he didn't want to get caught up in something beyond his comprehension. However, Reacher's way of thinking was so effective that it made him come around.
How about you be with me in spirit, Frank?
Well, if it's good enough for God, it's good enough for me.
Can you call me an ambulance?
Okay. You're an ambulance. No sense of humor.
She might be a highly skilled assassin, but Neagley sure takes her jokes way too literally. As I mentioned before, Reacher's not the only one who's got the lines in the show. Neagley is a very important and very likable side character who pretty much levels up to the secondary protagonist most of the time. In this sequence, after she takes out both of Quinn's henchmen, she decides to play around with the surviving one by making him suffer right through his final moments.
Please call 911.
Seriously? You want me to do you a favor?
It's just a job. It wasn't personal.
That doesn't make it any better.
The general conversation is quite condescending, but what really makes it memorable is the part where the dude asks Neagley to call him an ambulance, and she literally complies by calling him an ambulance. It's so instant and out of pocket that the whole situation goes from better get out of there Neagley to better stay away from Neagley. Her enjoying some cereal in the middle of all of this only makes the whole thing better to watch.
Move. Don't make me do it for you.
For the record, I'm not a vagrant, I'm a hobo.
Whatever.
Jack Reacher is so particular that bro even prefers to use the correct terms of reference. He even points it out to Roscoe when she picks him up in her cop car. Bro didn't like being called a vagrant, so he tells her that he's actually a hobo. Now, this wouldn't make much sense to anyone normally, but the TV Regent likes to do a bit of research, and I found out that a vagrant is more of a beggar, whereas a hobo prefers to earn his living. The common denominator is that both categories don't have a permanent place to stay. But yeah, considering the fact that Reacher only travels with a toothbrush pretty much says all that needs to be said about his living situation. Man, Reacher really told Roscoe he's homeless and still managed to riz her. Now that's a skill most homeowners would love to have.
I figure your plan's to go to Hubble's house and dig your thumb into his eye until he tells you why he confessed to a murder he didn't commit.
Something like that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be there to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I can either follow you the whole way, or you can save the shoe leather and get in the damn car.
Is that why? Back in the day, you and I never happened. First steps were the hardest.
How much did you drink back at the hotel room?
Speaking of Riz, Reacher may be a hit with the ladies, but he's also a man of ethics. Take this conversation with Dixon, for example. She bears her heart to him and even reveals that she kept dropping him hints back when they used to work together. Now, Reacher's not a fool, and he must have surely identified those hints, but his answer to her was absolute Sigma. He was her boss, so it wouldn't have been the right thing to do, which I completely agree with, although most men wouldn't have even bothered to consider that.
I mean, come on, Reacher. It's not like I didn't drop any hints.
I was your boss. Wouldn't have been right.
It may not be sassy, but it showcases Reacher's firm attachment to his beliefs. I mean, even Dixon admitted that he gave her a perfect answer, even though she was visibly annoyed that they didn't get involved because of morality.
Wow. Well, I waited years for that answer, and it's pure Reacher. Direct, honest, and well-reasoned.
Not one word.
Holy shit.
That's 2 words. Another one and I'll shove this kitten heel right up.
I'm just saying you look nice.
While we're on the topic of Dixon, here's Neagley, who knows how to tease her boss regarding his could-have-been love affair. This is when the whole squad has to dress up and suit up for their mission, and Neagley kicks things off with an attire that definitely suits her, although she would much rather prefer simple clothes. Now, Neagley gives us quite a few lines here, such as when she threatens David O'Donnell not to say a single word, when she even flexes on Reacher for not being able to afford paying her back.
Here, I'll pay you back in a month when my pension lands.
Yeah, your pension won't cover that suit. Or the hotel room. Or the plane ticket.
I'll pay you back in 2 months.
However, she really gets her moment to shine when our boy is taken aback by how stunning Dixon looks in her dress. Neagley wasn't going to let such an opportunity pass by, so she tells her boss that he should wash his mouth as he's going to catch some flies with his jaw still dropping over Dixon.
Everyone ready?
Let's go listen to some jazz music.
From the looks of it, your jacket.
Yeah, I'm big for my age.
Just like you're ugly for your age.
Reacher may be a total savage in his buff form, but bro's actually been a savage right since he was a kid. Here, Reacher and his brother are seemingly getting bullied, considering they're the new kids on the block, but the one thing their bullies don't know is that Jack is one heck of a savage.
You the new guys that just moved in today?
Yeah. This the way to the beach?
Yeah. That's $5.
He doesn't waste any time in violating the main bully by saying he's ugly for his age. And yes, it's a childish insult, but take a look at the kid here. He may be big for his age, but he is still super young. It serves as the perfect background incident to show us why Reacher is the way he is. Bro's not one to allow others to walk over him, and he's definitely not afraid of the consequences either.
It's my fight. It's never just your fight. You know, Mom was right. Trouble does kind of seem to find you.
Whoa, not so fast. Drop them drawers. Bend over and spread.
No.
Nobody in their right mind is going to strip search Jack Reacher because they don't want to get their heads smashed for unlawful behavior. Our man made sure it stayed that way when he willingly got sent to prison along with Paul Hubble. The officer really thought he could order Reacher around, but after a trademark no, bro went on to explain why trying to conduct the strip search on him was pretty unwarranted.
Blanket strip search policies are unconstitutional unless there's clear articulable suspicion of criminal activity.
I won't get into the details of the laws he spoke of, but I will mention how he blatantly threatened the officer with violence and injuries if he persisted with the search. I mean, it only made sense for the dude to give up because any further resistance to a man twice his size would have definitely made him a sus character.
If you think you can perform the inspection without getting seriously injured, go for it. Otherwise, check the box on your clipboard.
How do I know you? That I'm legit. Quinn ever mentioned a PI in Chicago that he tried to kill? I'm her.
To kick off our top 10, we have Neagley, who is literally her in a scene that flips genders on the iconic He's Him meme. This is actually part of the same sequence where Villanova gets tired of Reacher's riz, but it comes later and has different characters involved. From the opening line, you can assume that Neagley's one of them, and with Beck being the other one, we got ourselves a nice bargaining sequence.
Hello, Mr. Beck. Just keep acting like we're making a gun deal, okay? Reacher sent me. Only way he could get to you.
The line that impressed me was when Neagley told Beck that she was the one whom Quinn sent 2 men after. The I'm her line hit 2 birds with 1 stone, and it's a smart bit of writing which establishes Neagley as a certified badass.
Reacher needs to know when and where the big buy is happening so he can take care of Quinn before Quinn takes care of you.
The senator has a proposition for you. Get in.
No.
Why not, Mr. Reacher?
Just Reacher.
One of the key rules to keep in mind when dealing with Reacher is that you must always ask him nicely. Take Hart, for example. That dude was probably trying to look cool as a government official ordering Reacher to get in the car, but he doesn't realize who he's dealing with. After another trademark no, our man reveals that the only reason he's not complying with getting into the car is because Hart didn't ask him nicely.
Reacher, why won't you get in the car?
Because he didn't ask nicely.
Everyone took this as a joke, but not Hart's boss, who literally orders him to ask our man nicely, which he does. To add insult to injury, he also had to close the door for Reacher, turning him more into our protagonist's personal assistant than Savoy's employee. Let this be a lesson to all of you to mind your manners when dealing with super buff giants.
Hart, what's a magic word?
Please get in the vehicle.
I'm providing you an opening. Because I promised my mother I'd give dumb guys like you a chance to walk away.
We got 12.
He may be a total Chad, but Jack Reacher always listens to his mother. If not, he wouldn't have been kind enough to offer a warning to those bratty soldiers who thought they could have their way bossing Neagley around.
It's an officers' club. No enlisted.
How about I just finish my beer and I'll be on my way, okay, sir?
How about you be quiet? You're adults talking.
There are quite a few notable lines in this scene, such as Reacher telling his counterpart that he's going to need more men, but the standout is clearly when he insults the dude without any hesitation and openly lets him know that he's been given mercy in the form of a second chance. It's a crazy line that you can only pull off with sublime confidence, and as we know, Reacher can definitely walk the walk. Throwing your opponent through a glass window and then walking out to beat him again kinda proves my point.
Why don't you need a lawyer?
Because I didn't kill anybody. At least not recently. And not in this town.
The truth always matters, which is why Bro made sure to clarify his killing sheet with Finlay. These two characters really are a match made in heaven because their initial conversations are loaded with talk about murder, crimes, and personal rap sheets.
Ever think your brother didn't reach out to the cops because he couldn't reach out to the cops? Maybe he was dirty.
Think real hard before you finish that sentence. It'll determine how well your jaw works the rest of your life.
Like when Reacher reassures Finlay that he hasn't killed anyone, but immediately clarifies that he's referring to recent events, that too, in the city of Margrave. You can already sense the gap between our hero and his side character as Finlay looks at Reacher with a sense of doubt and panic. He realized that even though he's got our man in custody, he should tread lightly. Of course, he'll never admit it now that they're buddies.
Maybe your court-appointed attorney will get you to open up.
I don't need a lawyer.
He speaks.
When he wants to.
You're about to get your kicked.
No. I'm just gonna break the hands of 3 drunk kids.
There's 4 of us here.
One of you's gotta drive to the hospital.
Jack Reacher is so skilled that Bro can predict the future better than any fortune teller. Yes, I'm referring to that scene where he spells out what's going to happen to a bunch of youngsters who thought they could take him on simply because there were 4 of them. Reacher not only deduces why they're here to fight him, but he also lays out how he's going to break the hands of the 3 kids and leave the 4th one because he's got to drive his buddies to the hospital. It plays out exactly as he says so, and the 4th kid even willingly says that he's the one who knows the way to the hospital. It's savage, and it gives off tons of aura.
I know where the hospital is.
Even Roscoe knew from a distance that Graham and his friends were in for an unpleasant lesson.
Hey! We're talking to you, man.
Oh, Graham, you idiot.
I will ruin your life with one phone call.
I'll end your life with 1 phone.
You know, I just love when someone can give the perfect response to the phone call threat, which is so redundant now that it's annoying. Reacher seems to be on the same page because he gave what is easily the best response to that line. That lawyer should actually be happy that he got the end your life with 1 phone line, because he would have been a very forgettable character had he not been on the receiving end.
Bullet Jobling's fire.
I wish I could do something like that, but I know my limitations. Man, there's just something about Reacher whenever he says the word no, isn't there?
Oh, don't bother trying to find out my real name. Cause any problems, you wish I finished strangling you.
Major Reacher. Hello, sir.
Just Reacher.
Why not, Mr. Reacher?
Just Reacher.
It's no surprise that Reacher prefers simple names, and there are multiple scenes throughout the series that prove this point. He likes to be called just Reacher, and like a few of the entries before this one, he said this line quite a few times. He doesn't prefer his full name, or even being called Mr. Reacher, and it doesn't matter if it's a colleague, the cops, or even little kids. Bro only wants to be called Reacher.
Mr. Conklin, hello, Mr. Conklin.
It's just Reacher.
Which is also why you'll see me mostly referring to him that way. After all, I wouldn't want to get on his bad side now, would I? We've already seen what he does to those he doesn't particularly like.
You're my new helper.
Yes, sir.
Cut the sirs. I prefer Reacher.
Understood, Reacher.
I ever tell you you're smart, Neely?
Not nearly enough.
I ever tell you you're smart, Neely?
Not nearly enough.
Another common line that gets repeated a few times is when Reacher needs to tell Neely she's smart. Now, I know it can get annoying at times and the delivery isn't quite on the same level as some of the other classics from this show, but it is a trademark dialogue between the top 2 cast members of the show.
I ever tell you you're smart, Neely?
Not nearly enough.
It showcases their camaraderie and the mutual respect they have for each other, while also proving a boss and his subordinate can be good friends. So, to sum it up cohesively, I like the implication of the line more than the actual words.
I ever tell you you're a good friend, Reacher?
Not nearly enough.
What you want?
To give you a choice. See, you're in my house, Fatso, and you didn't ask permission. So you and your friends can leave now, or they can carry your fat out in a bucket.
You know, the main reason why this show is such a hit is because Reacher isn't afraid of offending anyone. He is the offense. That fearless, devil-may-care attitude is what makes him a true Giga Chad Pro Max, and it's best shown in the sequence that pretty much defines the series.
Now I'll count to 3.
Do you know who you're talking to?
1, 2.
It's when Reacher comes to Paul's rescue against the prison bully, and he goes to town on the guy in terms of his verbal barrage. Some of those burns were so hot that even Bobby Drake wouldn't be able to cool them off. I'd mentioned the physical pounding he gave out too, but honestly, the mental violation was more than enough to push this up to number 2.
You owe us a pair of glasses. Now get out of my cell.
Get out of my office.
No.
Your turn, Reacher.
No.
It's a given that no means no. And when the person saying it is Reacher, then you should know that in his dictionary, no means watch what you do next, otherwise you're in for a world of pain. I already mentioned his trademark no in some of the previous entries, but believe me, he says it a lot of times throughout the show across all seasons. It's just one simple word, but it has tons of impact.
Clement.
No.
I mean, if I ever heard this dude saying no, I'd back the heck off and make myself scarce. Unfortunately for Reacher's victims, most of them didn't get the memo. So they had to be dealt with in more, how should I say this, extreme ways.
I assume that's why you're here with bank staff.
No.
Reacher. Come with me.
No.
Hope you like the video, please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video that I know you're going to enjoy.